Texas-sized endorsement.
And I believe the Texas candidate, who's Ken Paxton, I think he'll win.
I think it creates a slight bit of momentum, don't you?
Senator John Cornyn isn't backing away.
We still have a very good chance of winning in the race.
The 14-month-long slugfest between two GOP Texas titans comes down to the final moment, the runoff election. Good morning, I'm Jack Fink, and welcome to Eye on Politics. The president's 11th hour endorsement of Attorney General Ken Paxton over Senator John Cornyn reverberated around the Lone Star State and in Washington. It shocked Republican senators and excited MAGA voters in Texas. It also came as a big blow to Cornyn and gave Paxton a major boost. Supporters of Ken Paxton's run for Senate were doing the Trump dance after the president announced he was backing the Attorney General over four-term incumbent Senator John Cornyn in the contentious GOP primary runoff. Moments later, Paxton thanked the president at a previously scheduled rally in Allen.
And I'll tell you what, I'm so honored to have President Trump's endorsement. His endorsement, in my opinion, is the most significant endorsement in my lifetime. So when he endorses, it has a tremendous impact, and I think it creates a slight bit of momentum, don't you?
In a statement on his Truth Social platform, President Trump said, quote, "I know Ken well, have seen him tested at the highest and most difficult levels, and he is a winner. Ken is a strong supporter of terminating the filibuster and, very importantly, the Save America Act. Ken is a true MAGA warrior who has always delivered for Texas and will continue to do so in the United States Senate." The president continued, quote, "John Cornyn is a good man, and I worked well with him, but he was not supportive of me when times were tough." Senator Cornyn was asked why he is staying in the runoff.
Because only Texans get to vote. And we've had 2 days of early voting. It looks very encouraging. And I believe that we still have a very good chance of winning in the race.
The president discussed his endorsement with reporters.
We have a great candidate, I believe, in Texas. And I believe the Texas candidate, who's Ken Paxton, I think he'll win. I think probably he'll win very substantially. And I think he'll go on to defeat a very defective candidate.
Paxton supporters, including State Representative Carissa Richardson of McKinney, believe the president made the right decision.
And to get Trump's endorsement today was just so exciting. We're very thrilled.
Do you think because of this endorsement now that Paxton's going to run away with it?
I felt like Paxton was going to win anyway, but the endorsement certainly will help him win.
I am so excited, and it's really cool that he did it while we were here at this event so we could all celebrate together.
Ad Impact Politics says this primary runoff is the most expensive in history, a total of $25 million in campaign ad spending and reservations. Most of it, $19.9 million, is by and on behalf of Cornyn, while $5.1 million is by and on behalf of Paxton. Paxton accepted a request by Texas GOP Chairman Abraham George that both he and Cornyn drop their negative ads against each other. A PAC supporting Paxton then released an ad against Democratic Senate nominee James Tallarico, calling him Low T Tallarico. But in a post on X, Cornyn said, "We are going to continue to tell the truth about Paxton. He's escaped accountability for too long. Judgment Day is coming." As for Tallarico, he didn't want to answer questions about the Trump endorsement on Wednesday while in Dallas, but he did talk about his chances now of winning the race in November.
I think that we are going to win this race. I feel it in my bones that we are going to flip this Senate seat. We're going to take back Texas, and we're going to take back our nation.
I went one-on-one with Republican pollster Ross Hunt, principal of Hunt Research in Dallas. I asked him if the president's endorsement guarantees Paxton a win or if Cornyn has any chance of coming out on top like he did during the March 3rd primary.
Nothing is ever certain in politics, Jack, particularly not in runoff elections. But I think there's no question that the president's somewhat surprising endorsement of Attorney General Paxton at this late hour comes just early enough to make a huge positive difference in favor of Attorney General Paxton in the runoff. I think that, to my mind, Attorney General Paxton was already the favorite going into early voting. Just because of the traditional dynamics of the runoff electorate, skews more ideologically conservative. But I wouldn't say that the president's endorsement clinches it, but I do think that it makes Paxton the strong favorite to win this election.
Under what scenario do you think that Senator Cornyn can pull out a victory? And if he does, is that an upset?
If he pulls out a victory, it is absolutely an upset, and it is still certainly possible. An analysis I did yesterday evening of early voting turnout in the runoff election statewide through the first 2 days of early voting, Monday and Tuesday of this week, I found that areas that had supported Senator Cornyn were turning out at or slightly above where they were in the March primary. And so if you look at the turnout patterns across the state of early voting in the runoff relative to the primary, and you look at the counties where Cornyn did well and the counties where Paxton did well, Cornyn is doing just about as he was before, as well as he was before, maybe a little bit better. He would need to see his areas of support in certain urban counties, in Travis County, possibly in South Texas, surge considerably in order for him to win Paxton and defeat Paxton. And in order to do that, to defeat Paxton, he would also have to win over a lot of Hunt voters who are coming out to vote again, having their nominee having failed in the first round.
Do you think that if Paxton does become the nominee, that he is going to put the Senate seat at risk?
I think that that's possible. Before we go there, I want to take just one step back, though, and I would say that even regardless of who wins the runoff election for Senate, I think that the U.S. Senate seat is in play and that the state is in play because we just saw such a huge surge of Democratic turnout in the primary.
I also went one-on-one with Democrat Matt Engel, founder and director of the Lone Star Project, a Democratic PAC. He believes Paxton will win the runoff and that it will be easier for Tallarico to win in November.
Well, I think that's right, but everything's relative. It's still hard. Winning a statewide race in Texas for Democrats is a knife fight uphill every day. But there's no question, though, that James Tallarico has a chance to win this seat and to really bring responsible leadership to Texas. And it's been clear from what Republicans have said that Paxton is a problem. I mean, for goodness sake, Matt Shaheen said that he was unfit for office, that he was Democrats' best hope for turning Texas blue. And Jeff Leach called him out for cutting a sweetheart deal with a sex abuser. And so they're going to have to either eat those words or somehow rationalize them, because they can't suddenly change what are facts just because Donald Trump gave Ken Paxton a pat on the head.
And so as far as the Tallarico campaign, do you think that they are going to continue to use what Senator Cornyn and the other Republicans that you mentioned and use that and go on the attack against Paxton once this race gets going? And
well, I wouldn't call it an attack if you're using what Republicans said about Ken Paxton to inform the Texas public. That's not an attack. And that's just laying out facts. And again, I think it puts the Republicans in a box, because they've got to either stand by the words and stand by the fact that they have condemned Ken Paxton as an albatross around the Republicans' neck and unfit for office, or they've got to somehow say that they weren't telling the truth during the primary.
You know, Republicans are going to come right back at Tallarico for some of his comments.
Nobody has any illusions. The Republicans will throw everything in the book at James Tallarico. They're going to call him everything but a child of God. The problem they're going to have is that most of what they're going to say, probably all of what they're going to say, is untrue, whereas the indictment of Ken Paxton is laid out chapter and verse, and a lot of it's been laid out by his Republican colleagues.
Even before President Trump endorsed Attorney General Ken Paxton over Senator John Cornyn, both candidates hit the campaign trail to make their closing arguments to Republican voters. We followed Senator Cornyn starting on Sunday from the Colony to Waxahachie to Austin, where he voted on Monday morning. I spoke with the senator, and his supporters praised his ethics and integrity.
So I appreciate your comments.
1, 2, 3.
Y'all hungry? Yeah. So we're just trying to encourage everybody to make sure that their voice and their values are being represented in this runoff.
A little Texas barbecue doesn't hurt.
Sure smells good.
At a campaign barbecue in the Colony, Senator John Cornyn brought the heat against rival Ken Paxton.
And I know the Attorney General thinks all the scandals that he's brought with him over the years are already baked in the cake and people don't care. But I guarantee you I care, and I believe you care. I believe that character is on the ballot.
I have voted for Senator Cornyn previously because I believe he's a man of integrity. He stands up for what he believes in. His ethics, morals, values are something that I, as a conservative Jewish woman, really appreciate.
You want to win in November? You elect this man in the Republican runoff next week. Thank you.
State Representatives Jeff Leach of Allen and Matt Shaheen of Prosper are from Collin County, home base for Paxton, and they both worked with him when he served in the Texas House.
And his opponent has no business whatsoever serving you and serving me and serving our state in the United States Senate.
There is only one person in this race that can beat James Tallarico. John Cornyn is the person that can beat him because he's the better man.
Senator, I wanted to ask you, you've made electability a key part of your campaign in November. How are you going to know, how confident are you that it's resonating with Republican primary voters?
Well, I hope there's no Republican who wants to lose this election. I mean, that's what elections are all about. It's about winning. You don't get a prize for coming in second place. And so I think that's something people, I hope, will take into consideration.
We need to win in November, and he truly has proven that he's able to win the big elections.
And you think that's key here?
That's key for me. I hope that's important to everybody.
And Judgment Day is coming on May the 26th.
In Waxahachie, at his second event in North Texas, Cornyn made the case against Paxton, saying the Attorney General's political baggage will place the Senate seat at risk if he wins the runoff and becomes the Republican nominee. Congressman Jake Ellzey of Midlothian said Cornyn hasn't faced any ethical problems during his years as a senator.
Not one time in his many years of service have you ever heard anyone say, "I think we got him." And the reason for that is he's a good man.
At his rallies, Cornyn told supporters Democratic Senate nominee James Tallarico is dangerous. If you win on May 26th, how are you going to beat Democrat James Tallarico?
I think James Tallarico will essentially beat himself. He is so out of step with Texas, and he tries to come across as sort of a mild-mannered, non-threatening individual, but he's basically a Bernie Sanders type with the same sort of policies, and that is completely out of sync with where I believe Texans are. So he's already given a lot of very strange statements that I think it's going to cause a lot of people to hesitate in voting for him in November.
You've never lost an election in your 42-year career, and now you may. This could be it for you. Do you think of that?
Yeah, I think of that. I think what a wonderful experience I've had, and what an honor it's been to serve in so many different capacities. But it also leaves me with a sense of responsibility. I can't in good conscience turn this Senate seat, this red Senate seat in Texas, over to someone who could likely just let this slip through their fingers, to the detriment of Republicans in Texas, to the detriment of the Republican Party nationally, and to the detriment of President Trump's agenda. I feel a sense of responsibility as a result of my long service, and that's largely what motivates me to run.
The next morning, Cornyn and his wife Sandy voted in Austin and afterwards greeted supporters.
Because he doesn't have the baggage that Ken Paxton has, and the fact that he is much more electable come November. Paxton is not going to get the independent voters.
Cornyn pointed out the last time he ran in 2020, he won the general election by 10 percentage points.
And I think I can help Republicans from the courthouse to the state house win.
Senator Ken Paxton says you're not a fighter. What do you say to that?
Do you think I'd be in this race if I wasn't a fighter? I mean, I may not look like I'm angry all the time, but I refuse to lose, and I'm going to fight to win this race.
Paxton would not make himself available for an interview with us or answer questions from local reporters after his rallies in North Texas. We went to various campaign events starting 10 days ago in Little Elm and his rallies in Dallas and in Allen, in his home base of Collin County. His supporters told us they believe Paxton will fight for them.
He's going to take the photo.
Campaigning in Little Elm before the conservative group Restore the Republic, Attorney General Ken Paxton pointed to his record of suing the Obama and Biden administrations, including on President Biden's last day in office.
That was the 107th lawsuit against Joe Biden in 4 years. For those of you who don't know math, that's a lot of lawsuits. And we won about 80% of those.
And I totally believe in him. He's a good man. He's done so many good things. On the other hand, I feel John Cornyn has been there a long time and done absolutely nothing for the state of Texas.
And what is it that Paxton has done that resonates with you?
Well, I think a lot of the different things he did when he sued Biden, also the lawsuits he's done against Obama.
Cornyn has sharply criticized Paxton for his ethical and marital problems.
There being 8 yeas and 22 nays, a finding of acquittal is entered for Article 8.
While the Attorney General was acquitted in the 2023 impeachment trial in the Texas Senate, the Attorney General's office will have to pay about $6.7 million to Paxton's 4 former top hand-picked officials in his office who became whistleblowers. Paxton fired them after they went to the FBI to report alleged wrongdoing, something he's always denied. Federal authorities investigated Paxton, but he was not charged. His wife, State Senator Angela Paxton of McKinney, filed for divorce last year, citing biblical grounds in a post on X. Paxton's supporters, like Steve Brown, are sticking with him.
You know, if I was looking for him to be my pastor, if I was looking for him to be my marriage counselor, if I was looking for him to do those jobs, then yeah, sure, I'd be more concerned with what Cornyn's saying. But the reality is I'm not. I'm looking for him to be a bulldog that goes to Washington, D.C., that makes sure that they in D.C. understand that we in Texas will not be trampled, that you will have to come and take it.
And you don't think Cornyn is a fighter?
He hadn't done it in 40 years, Jack. Why would he start tomorrow?
And you think Paxton is the fighter?
I know it. Look at his history.
And why we have to get out and vote. Because if our people get out and vote, we will win.
In Dallas, State Representative Katrina Pearson of Rockwall said she is backing Paxton because he's a fighter.
If you just take any 2 weeks that I've been the Attorney General, other than Christmas and Thanksgiving, I've accomplished more in any 2 week period John can pick it than he's accomplished in 42 years.
Paxton's supporters expressed a familiar theme in Allen on Tuesday.
You know, nobody has fought harder for Texans than Ken Paxton. I don't care if it was parents' rights, immigration, election integrity, you name it.
Ken Paxton, on any issue that he gets, is like a dog with a bone.
And why is being a fighter in Washington, D.C. so important to you?
I think people get up there and forget why we elected them. They need to get up there and represent us, and Ken Paxton, I know, will do that.
The Attorney General has repeatedly questioned Cornyn's support for President Trump and said the senator only changed his tune last year after he entered the race to challenge the incumbent.
The fake John Cornyn's going away in about 7 days.
Regardless of who wins, one of these longtime Republican elected officials will leave office at the end of the year when his term expires. A Texas Democrat running for Congress in Central Texas is facing backlash from across the state and nationwide after making anti-Semitic remarks. Sarah Jenkins has the brief.
Leaders in both parties have denounced recent comments made by Maureen Galindo, a sex therapist running in the Democratic primary runoff for Texas's 35th Congressional District, now in the San Antonio area. In a post on her campaign Instagram last week, Galindo said that if elected, she would, quote, turn Carnes ICE Detention Center into a prison for American Zionists and former ICE officers for human trafficking. Galindo denies that her comments are anti-Semitic. Democrats are now backing Johnny Garcia, a former sheriff's deputy. The 35th district was redrawn by Texas Republicans last year as part of the national mid-decade redistricting push. It was changed from a heavily Democratic lean to a district that would be much more favorable to the GOP. For The Brief, I'm Sarah Jenkins.
Thank you, Sarah. And remember, you can watch all the full interviews from today's show on our CBS Texas YouTube page. And while you're there, go to the Eye on Politics playlist and also hit the subscribe button. And on Election Day, join us starting at 7 o'clock on CBS News Texas, on air and on the stream as we watch the results in the big races come in, have reaction at the watch parties, and analysis that's always on point. We'll wrap it up on CBS News Texas at 10 p.m. And that's Eye on Politics for today. I'm Jack Fink. I am listening, and we are listening to you at CBS News Texas. Thanks for watching. I'll see you again next week. And from all of us here, have a great Sunday.